Hello.
Well, welcome back.
Welcome back. This is Susan O'Connor-Fraser.
And Tam O'Connor-Fraser.
We're here at Santa Cruz Voice.
Yes, we are.
And this is Think Local First. We're in the top of the second hour.
Top of the second hour.
Yeah. And
we have two guests.
We're so lucky to have two guests in the studio with us. Simone, right?
Yes.
Good.
You got it.
Good pronunciation. And Peter Bargetto, and they are with Soquel Vineyards. Yes. So I'm going to start. This is a father-son combination here. And Peter's the dad. Simone's the son. And so I'm going to start with the son as being to find out what your history is. How did you get to this point as being part of Soquel Vineyards?
That might be a better question for my dad, but yeah, we grew up in a wine family, a few of us anyway, at the Bargetto family. So my dad used to work at Bargetto Winery as a kid, and then he'll tell you more about it, but he ventured off to Kenwood at some point, maybe one other couple wineries.
After college, I moved up to Kenwood Vineyards, worked there for a couple of years, and I always knew that I wanted to be a part of this amazing industry. And Simone got involved with it about 5 or 6 years ago after he graduated San Francisco State University. Has a degree in Italian, and I thought maybe he'd want to teach. He said, "Dad, I don't want to teach. I want to make wine." And he has a bug for the industry. He just loves the wine industry, loves the people in the industry. So incidentally, my son's name is Simone Raffaele Bargetto. My dad's name was Ralph, so we named Simone's middle name Ralph. And our daughter is Sabrina Michela Dobler now, but she was named after Simone's father-in-law, Michele, in Italy. Middle name. So Soquel Vineyards, we started our business in 1987 with 3 partners, my twin brother Paul Bargetto, and a very good neighbor, John Morgan, and the 3 of us still continue to this day, 38 years in this industry.
Nice.
So you went from Kenwood, which is like in Sonoma County.
Yes.
And then did you work at the Bargetto?
When I was younger, I worked at Bargetto's, worked for my Uncle Larry. He and my dad at one time had the winery together that our grandfather started, John Bargetto, and day of repeal was December 5th, 1933, so they actually had a winery there. My grandparents actually moved up to San Francisco in the early teens and opened up a winery in North Beach and had a very successful business up there, then decided to move down to Soquel along the Soquel Creek and build their own winery. So it was Philip, and my other grandfather, Giovanni, ran that winery for many years. Then my grandfather passed away in 1964, and my dad and Larry ran the winery, his brother rather, ran the winery. And my dad left the business in 1963, opened up his own business, ERA Real Estate. Was there for about 35 years, and Dad asked me one day, "Peter, why don't you take the keys to the Moosehead office in Santa Cruz and I'll give you a turnkey business." And I remember that very specifically after the dinner we had that night, and I said, "Dad, I really want to have a winery." And he goes, "I always thought you did." So the 3 of us, John Morgan and Paul Bargetto, and I opened up a winery on 7880 Glen Haven Road. There's a 2-car garage. We each had a small amount of cash with us. We started this winery. Our first crush was 10 tons. Then the earthquake hit in 89, and a lot of my friends said, "Peter, this will not work for you." I said, "You got to start with a dream." I said, "Of course we're going to make this work." And we have 3 really good partners. John Morgan's more of the maintenance man. Paul is production. But it's the staff we have. We have an amazing staff. We have the lady who started the whole thing for Soquel Vineyards was Dee Murray, a local legend here in Santa Cruz. She got the process going for the new winery 25 years ago at the new location on Glen Haven, just up the road, which incidentally used to be our grandfather's property in 1919. He had 52 acres of farmland. Being that he came from via Castelnuovo to San Francisco to Santa Cruz, he knew all the restaurant people in San Francisco, North Beach, all the produce providers. So he would take the produce from this 52-acre piece and sell it up to San Francisco. Every Wednesday he'd go up there. He knew all the connections. And eventually, right after the war, my grandfather sold that 52 acres to the Peterson family. And with that money, my dad built the big addition to Bargetto Winery. So Paul and our good neighbor John Morgan and I bought that piece back. Not 52 acres, we wish it was. 50. It was about 5.5 acres we bought. But it was Dee Murray who was instrumental in getting us a permit with the county. So
no easy feat.
It was not easy at all, but with the encouragement of Dee, she got it passed. We got the permits, and we've been there for 25 years. And now my son Simone's been there for 6 years,
or 7, yeah.
7 years.
Yeah.
So he has a combination of many different hats. He provides sales for the winery, outside sales. He'll drive all the way up to Palo Alto, Santa Rosa, San Francisco, Monterey, and then he also works with Paul, my twin brother. He and Simone actually do all the production. John is very instrumental, very valuable. He takes care of lab work with Paul. He provides all the trucking, orders all the supplies, glass, labels, corks, foils. And then collectively we all order barrels together because we use a lot of different types of French oak, work with different coopers. We try and specialize in high-end Pinot Noir. It's our passion. I think Paul and John and Simone do a great job in producing 10 or 11 different Pinot Noirs every year from the Santa Cruz Mountains. And Simone can tell you more about the vineyards because he's more hands-on with the types of soils, with the people. And again, we have Prudy Fox is the caretaker of all these vineyards, and she does an amazing job. If we didn't have Prudy, we wouldn't be making these types of high-quality wines. She takes care of hundreds and hundreds of acres in the Santa Cruz Mountains.
So, Simone, why did you went and studied Italian, but then what you really want, when did you know that you wanted to be in the wine business?
I went to Cabrillo straight out of high school.
Great college.
I was working on the weekend in tasting room kind of stuff, and I always wanted to, have a hand in making wine. And my dad was always kind of propaganda or not pushing for it. I'm sure I'll do the same with my son. Yeah, that's
what happens.
But so you have to be interested, and I was. So one day I used to work at a grocery store in the wine department, and then I went to work at full time back in 2018, end of 2018, and it's been there full time since. But it's I don't know. I've always been interested. I've really liked the vineyard aspect. I think that's something I'd like to do as I'm older, because right now it's kind of the hustle and bustle of sales. It's all gotta bring the money in. It's there's a lot of different paths, I guess you could take in the wine industry, which is very fascinating. I just wanted to say I think that's why my dad initially for the history of Soquel Vineyards it's a better question for him to answer.
Yeah.
I was really happy because I was thinking maybe he'd go for a PhD in Italian and start teaching, but then he'd probably live up in San Francisco, which is fine. Love the city, but I like having him home. He lives very close to the winery. He's there every day. He's usually the first person there, last person to leave. And again, we have a great staff, both in the tasting room, office people, production. John Morgan, Paul Bargetto, and Simone pretty much run everything. And
well, what do you do, Peter?
Well, I don't do a lot anymore, to be honest with you. But I love being there on the weekends. I love working with the bookkeeper a couple hours during the week. I like working with the growers, but I've been slowing down a little bit. So I have very patient and understanding partners to know that I can't work full-time like I used to. But I like being a part of the winery, and I'm glad Simone also has a huge interest in learning how to make wine and growing grapes. We have a small vineyard. It's only 3 acres, and John Morgan does an amazing job farming that fruit. We farm 100% organic. We use no pesticides, no sprays whatsoever. That's why we have so many weeds in the vineyard.
Which vineyard is that?
It's the home estate.
The estate,
okay.
Because you have 6, you grow.
No, we source.
You source?
From, I think right now it's about 10 or 11 vineyards in Santa Cruz, kind of all over the AVA.
Gotcha.
Most of those are Pinot. We can get into that later if you'd like. But
yeah.
We have a close relationship with the Beauregard family, and everyone knows the Beauregard family in Santa Cruz. They're an amazing family, and
Are these Shoppers Corner? Is that
Also,
yeah?
Jim owns Shoppers Corner, and my dear friend Ryan owns Beauregard Vineyards.
Ah, okay.
So it's funny though. We at one time, at least me, I knew nothing about how to take care of a vineyard, let alone plant it. So Jim Beauregard's team came up to our facility and property and actually planted the 3 acres of Pinot Noir.
Well,
And we buy a lot of fruit from Jim Beauregard and Ryan Beauregard up in Benlum and Bonnie Doon area. But they planted our vineyard back in 2002, and we don't grow a lot of grapes there, maybe 10 or 11, 12 tons an acre. But it's fun to work the vineyard. And John, again, does a great job in maintaining the vineyard. He does all the hedging, the leaf thinning with the crew. We have Elkhorn Packing Company that comes up and helps out. And then inside the winery, it's mainly Paul and John, or Paul and my son Simone, rather. So.
yeah, and family businesses are interesting. We have a family business ourselves, and our son ran it for a while, and then moved to Ohio and has his own business. And our daughter works with us now, but doesn't want to take it on. So that's I know probably why you were so pleased to learn that he wanted to carry the family business on.
It's not an easy industry.
Yeah.
I can tell you from the get-go, it's not an easy. But if you approach it with a passion, then you feel like you've never worked a day in your life.
Yeah.
It's that much love we have for the industry, and it's really the people in the industry, from the growers to the pickers to the winemaking to buying barrels. When Paul, John, and I first opened up the winery, we thought paying $350 for a new French oak barrel was crazy. We would rent a truck here and go up to Acacia and buy used French oak barrels for $100. That's how we got our start. And I look back and I think how times have changed. It's harder for the young people now to get into the industry. We pay approximately $1,350 to $1,400 for a French barrel.
That you got used for $100.
Well, years ago they cost $350 new. Now they're hitting $1,400. We buy about 80 to 100 barrels every year of the French wood.
Wow.
Because we need those for the Pinot Noir program. And then we make some upper end Napa Valley Cabernet, which we've stopped a couple years ago. We're going to go back eventually, but we buy a lot of French wood from different coopers because every French oak offers a different flavor.
Oh, interesting.
It's kind of interesting to me. If you look at one tree, a good friend was telling me that works for Radu Cooperage last week. He was saying, Peter, how many barrels do you think come out of a normal tree? And I was thinking, well, maybe 20 or 30. He goes, 6 barrels you get out of one tree. That's a 125-year-old tree.
Oh, geez.
6 barrels. And
now, it's a French barrel. What does it actually come from France, or is it, because it's
from different forests in France? We buy a lot of wood from the center of France forests and Allier and Nevers. But Matt was telling me for Radu, now they're so precise on the age of the tree. If you want to buy closer to the middle of the grain, middle of the tree, the grain is tighter, you'll pay up to $3,000 for one of those barrels. And we can't justify that here in the Santa Cruz Mountains. If we were in Napa, where you charge $100 a bottle or $150 maybe, that's
right.
But we don't want that image. We want people to drink our wines every day. We make a red wine called Trinity Rosso, and it's our biggest seller because it's inexpensive. It's anywhere from $12 to $18 around town.
Right.
So, and we're grateful for all the grocery stores and wine outlets in this community. They support us in a real big way. We have many people who buy 10, 20, 15 cases a week of our wine. And a lot of that will be Trinity. Then they'll pick up, of course, the high-end Pinots. And I say high-ends, they're not that expensive. They're only $40 or $40 to $50 a bottle. It may seem like a lot to certain people, but when you put in all the grape cost, labor cost, wood cost, of course, then you have all the supplies. You have the labels, the corks, the paper, and have you. Distribution. It's at the end of the day, you're going, wow, okay, we can pay the bills. But it's really, it comes down to is a passion of love in this industry. It's not, you're not going to make a lot of money. But I don't want to make a lot of money in life. It just makes life confusing. If we have a lot, we'd give it away anyhow. We just really don't. We're not after the money. We just love making wine, and we love making people happy.
Well, that sounds like a good place to break and
good
take
place to break, yeah.
take a commercial, making people happy. What better mission can you have? So this is Susan O'Connor Fraser.
And Tam O'Connor Fraser.
We are going to take a break, pay some bills, and then we're going to be back with Simone and Peter Bargetto and here on Think Local First Programming. So please don't go away. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
Hi, folks. Warren Knox here of Knox Roofing. I thought I'd share a few statistics with you. Do you know how long a frog can hold its breath? 4 minutes. Do you know how many nails the average roof requires? 7,000. What's the percentage of roofing companies that will be out of business after they've installed a roof? 80%. Here at Knox Roofing, we're still going strong, exceeding 15,000 homes now. Give us a call here at Knox Roofing at 461-0634. Thanks, folks.
Attention investors. This is a simple commercial on the investment value of gold. Gold continues to make new highs. In good markets and in bad markets, you need to have your portfolio balanced with gold. Learn about owning physical gold or getting a gold-backed IRA. Make this simple call right now.
800-414-1657. 800-414-1657. That's 800-414-1657.
Sponsored by Reagan Gold. We're offering a 100% risk-free gold guide. Gold continues to make new highs. And unlike stocks, gold has never been worth zero. You owe it to your nest egg and future to own some physical gold or set up a gold-backed IRA. Call right now for your free report.
800-414-1657. 800-414-1657. That's 800-414-1657.
It's high time to celebrate the opening of the new Hook Outlet Dispensary, 1129 Mission in Santa Cruz. Get in on the opening fun and really low prices on the Hook's unmatched selection of top-quality medical and recreational cannabis flower, vapes, drinks, gummies, and concentrates. The Hook Outlet is now the West Side's source for finest cannabis at the lowest prices. Get in on all the opening fun and low prices at the all-new Hook Outlet. HookOutlet.com for details and deals.
And we are back.
That music came in a little hot. I have to talk to my editor about that.
Yeah.
No names being used. So, this is Susan O'Connor Fraser.
And Tam O'Connor Fraser.
Here in the studio for Think Local First Programming on Santa Cruz Voice. And we have Simone Bargetto and Peter Bargetto with us talking about Soquel Vineyards. And we were just talking about how they, why they do what they do and making people happy. We used to drink a lot of Soquel Vineyards wine.
We did.
Yeah, I don't drink right now. I don't drink anymore. But you guys were one of the wines that we'd go to Scotts Valley Market and get.
Yeah. I was perusing your website, and boy, I was looking at your awards. You have a ton of awards.
Well, we find it easier just to pay the judges. That's what
Okay.
my mother says all the time. So, no, but again, it's all about great farming. It goes back to Prudy Fox and about talented winemakers. I don't make wine personally, but John Morgan, Paul, and Simone do, and they've been doing it for a while. So they have it pretty dialed in with all the fermentations, and they use the right yeast for the right type of grapes. And Simone could tell you more about the grapes and how they're farmed, but
I am interested in all the different farms that you guys. How do you determine where you're going to get your grapes?
Yeah, they're not our vineyards. We don't own them. We just have our estate Pinot Noir vineyard on property. We lease a 10-acre vineyard that's in Corralitos, Pleasant Valley Farms. It's on Pleasant Valley Road. That's located across the street, roughly from Leicester, which has a big name, a lot of recognition. And then we source from Severia at the end of the road, all within I'd say about a mile from one another. A lot of similarities, but also lots of differences. And Pleasant Valley Farms is kind of unique in that we're the only producer right now from Pleasant Valley Farms. That's been about 3 or 4 vintages, I think. And we get a little bit of Sauvignon Blanc from there, which is neat because it's not super common in Santa Cruz. It's a lot of Pinot, a lot of Chardonnay. which we do get from Pleasant Valley Farms, as well as Cabernet Franc, which is always the last one to come in. It's the last. It barely makes it, but it makes it. And
but isn't that a less that's kind of a it doesn't age as long, right? I mean, you drink the front.
No, it'll age. It's a little thicker skinned grape than the Pinot. And it requires a little bit more heat. And so it's, like I said, it's kind of the last grape to come in. Corralitos is probably the coolest climate, I think, in Santa Cruz.
Oh, really?
That we source from, I would say so.
We're about 2 weeks behind this year than last year. We just haven't had the heat units to ripen the fruit. One thing unique about Pleasant Valley Farms is they grow a unique clone that I don't believe anybody has it here.
There's a few people that have it.
A few people have it. The Vos Romani clone. Do they grow the 828 out there as well?
They have Pommard, which is a clone of Pinot Noir. They have the Mount Eden. And I want to say Dijon something. I forget. Yeah, there's 4 clones at Pleasant Valley Farms, which gives a nice variety.
And then Lester has, I'm going to guess and say probably 10 different clones of Pinot, and that vineyard is amazing. We would still continue to buy a lot more fruit, but now we have our estate vineyard. And we also buy a lot of fruit from the Beauregards, about 7 or 8 tons from Jim Beauregard's ranch, old vine Pinot, which is amazing. I think that was a wine that got 96 points for us in the Wine Enthusiast. And then we also buy a little bit down the road from Ryan Beauregard, the Coast Grade Vineyard, which is amazing.
It's my personal favorite Pinot Noir vineyard is Coast Grade. Yes.
And that also got some big press for us. Editor's Choice, 95 points in Wine Enthusiast. So those are really unique vineyards because they have unique clones. Incidentally, they have a clone that's called 828. Simone got married a few years back and has a child, Luca Pietro Bargetto, born on 828.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he will get my inheritance for sure.
But yeah, so those are mainly the Pinot Noir vineyards. Those are all either farmed or consulted by Prudy Fox that my dad mentioned earlier. She's the
Viticulturist.
Yeah, vineyard consultant, viticulturist. And over the hill, kind of the Lexington Reservoir,
right,
Bear Creek exit, way up in the woods there's this vineyard called Ascona Vineyard, and that's farmed by Ken Swagels, who's a part owner of Matson, I believe, down in Mission Street. But that's also a vineyard that we source Pinot from, and there's a bunch of other varieties that they grow. And then probably the most unique one, which is called Lago Lomita, and that's owned by Mark and Robin Porter, super cool people, up on the summit, kind of behind the Summit store. It's a fire road. And anyway, they've got pretty much everything planted besides Pinot Noir and Chardonnay because it's a slightly warmer, significantly warmer site than most Santa Cruz vineyards. So we get our Nebbiolos from up there. This past year we got Sangiovese, which is just recently bottled. We're excited about that one. And then we also get another Cabernet Franc from that vineyard as well as Cabernet Sauvignon. So it's a really unique vineyard. It's warm up there, nice views.
Is it on the other side of the summit? Is it on the Santa Clara Valley?
Technically, it's the Santa Clara side.
Okay.
So one side you could see the Monterey Bay with an awesome elevated view, and then the other side you could see kind of I don't know what you call this, kind of manzanita grasses and
area. The heat units are high up there. They can grow Cabernet no problem and get 25, 26 sugars, the same as the Sangiovese. And they also grow some Pinot Grigio, which I would love to have that, but someone else gets that. It's a great bottle of wine. And the winery next door makes that.
Right Station.
Right Station. They do a great job. I mean, I buy that wine and drink it. It's just one of the best wines in the Santa Cruz Mountains for Pinot Grigio.
And then Left Out Rains Vineyard, which is also over in Saratoga, and that's a vineyard 100% cab. We source a few tons from there, and that's so we source all over the Santa Cruz Mountains, and it's mainly Pinot and Chardonnay, like everybody, but we also make some other varieties to keep it interesting. And
so why do you need so many different clones or of Pinot to why? I don't understand.
There's a lot to differentiate flavors.
Okay.
Each clone has different flavors, different dimensions of textures and of mouthfeel. So the job for Paul and John and Simone, and they do a great job, I must say. Come January, when all the wines are cleaned up, they're racked off the yeast, they go into new barrels, and now the aging process starts. We, however, put the blends together. We make 10 or 11 different Pinot Noirs, and we do a lot of the vineyard designate wines. You'll see that. But we also make a big blend, maybe 400 or 500, 600 cases, that's sold around town for maybe $25. It's pretty inexpensive. But we have the flexibility to put blends together with different clones and different vineyards.
So as a consumer, and I'm saying I want to go buy a bottle of Pinot Noir, how do I know which one I'm getting, or do I care?
Well, if you go to a certain market, if you go to Andre Beauregard, he'll tell you all about wine and more. I mean, he's a very knowledgeable owner of the store. Or if you go to Sergio's store, Deluxe, he's the wine buyer there. He could tell you all about different clonal selections of different wineries, how they make the wines. So it all depends on how comfortable you are where you shop.
It probably depends on the wineries, too, because they can mention it on the back label, you know? It's kind of a marketing ploy, too, which is all fair. But, yeah, they could say, you know, the barrels they used or how long the fermentation process was, and it's all in that.
So am I buying the Soquel Vineyards Pinot Noir because I just know that every bottle, no matter what clone it is going to be good?
It's going to be consistently good.
Okay. But it may be different from...
It will be different from year to year just because that's what nature will give us.
Right.
You know, this year has been tough because it's been cool.
Yes. We've loved it.
We had that heat wave. Yeah. We had that heat wave and everything was coming in at once. So we use a lot of dry ice for Pinot Noirs. We crush about 1 ton per container. Then we'll do a cold soak for 3 days. And we'll try and extract more of the flavor and color. Then we'll add the yeast. And after the primary fermentation, as that's being completed, Paul or John will add the bacteria for the secondary fermentation. And then once the wines are cleaned up, racked off the yeast, again, they'll go into new barrels. Or some will go into all new barrels. Some will go 50-50. Depends on what we want to do.
So how long does one of those French barrels last? And is it just one batch of wine and then you have to get a new one, or what?
We'll keep them at least 4 years, if not longer.
Okay.
So a lot of these French barrels that we use, they say after 4 years it becomes neutral with the flavor of the oak, which is more or less true. But they do help round out the wine. For example, the Cabernet Franc that we get from Pleasant Valley Farms, we prefer 100% French oak, but it's also 100% neutral oak. It's lower alcohol. We don't want to over oak the wine and kind of hide the fruit, and it's sort of a delicate wine to begin with. So we do like that kind of neutral oak on that wine. And then, like I said, if we keep them longer than 4 years, we'll put it in our Trinity program, which is probably 70-80% American oak, which you can get into that in a second if you want. But we'll put a lot of that neutral French oak just to keep it, because barrels are so expensive, and if they don't leak, why not throw it away? That's kind of how we see it, and it's still good quality for the wine. So, I'll say anything about American oak.
What Simone was saying, after 4 years, the Frenchies go into the Trinity program. They'll stay in that program for about 4 more years. And then we'll add maybe 20 or 30 new American oak barrels to the Trinity program. Again, it goes back to cost on this one, what it costs to produce it. It's an amazing value, and people know it's a great value for the $12 to $16 around town. But American oak now is getting expensive. There's $650 per barrel for American. So we have to use the neutral French wood to soften up the wine a little bit. And we make about 4,000 cases of Trinity per year, so most of these stores buy 10, 20, 50 cases at a time. Like New Leaf will actually buy pallets at a time. Shoppers Corner some years will buy 600 or 700 cases at one time. So it's everyone in the community, and we thank everyone in the community for supporting our boutique winery. Unfortunately, it's just everything's getting more expensive. Labor costs are through the roof. Insurance is crazy now, especially to insure a winery or a home for fire protection. Labor costs have gone up about 20%, and of course, barrel costs are through the roof.
So how did you guys fare during CZU? What did that do to your grapes?
That was the one and only year to date that we have made rosé.
That's what I've heard this story. A couple of different people.
We do not make rosé, but life gives you lemons, kind of thing. So yeah, that was the year. we were supposed to get a bunch of, I don't know, it was like 15 or so tons from Coast Grade Vineyard, which is up in Pine Flat Road in Bonnie Doon. And that we didn't get anything from them that year. And our estate, it's like, well, it's smoke tainted, so what are we going to do? And we made rosé, didn't leave it on the skins for long at all. I think it was pressed right away, and it looked like water. It looked like water.
Huh.
I personally am not a rosé drinker. If my wife liked rosé, I'd make it just for her, but she doesn't. She likes Chardonnay and Pinot Grigio. With the Pinot Noir that year, I remember we gave a lot of it back to the community. We just felt that was the thing to do, help people out during the fires.
Right.
So we supported.
We did that with
Gray Bear's got a big chunk of that money.
We did 10% of the rosé went to Gray Bears, and then
Nice.
we made one Pinot, which was from Corralitos, in 2020, and that was it.
Was Corralitos a little far enough away from the smoke that it didn't get affected?
Got smoke taint. At least patches of vineyards did. So yeah, we supposedly the Pinot that we made was not smoke taint, but I think after a couple years in the bottle, it definitely had flavors that you would not traditionally see or want to see. But yeah.
Yeah, we won't make rosé again.
That was it.
Hopefully not under those circumstances.
Yeah. The talk a little bit about the changing tastes that's happening out there, because I hear that the people are, their tastes in wines or in alcohol or spirits, and that it's changing.
They're saying the youngins.
Yes, the youngins.
They want lower alcohol, which means you'd pick the grapes a little earlier than, at least for us anyway, a little earlier than we normally would. You get that lower alcohol. For example, Coast Grade Vineyard up in Bonnie Doon for the Pinot, that's always around 13% alcohol, which is modest. It's not high, it's not low. And then Ascona is always picked early. That's about 12.5 alcohol. But all the other vineyards that we usually source Pinot from are about 13.5 to 14%, which is a little bit, higher. I don't know if you're going to see a big difference. Probably depends on the individual. If you're having 2 or 3 glasses of wine, I don't think a 1% difference in alcohol is going to,
The boutique wineries, I don't think the boutique wineries are having a tough time. They may feel it a little bit, but it's the big wineries that have to move inventory, that have big payroll.
Right.
A lot of wineries in Napa are laying people off now. They can't make payroll. Sonoma, there's over 120 wineries for sale right now.
Really?
It's a bad time for the industry, but it's more the big players that make a couple 100,000 cases. They have to.
Like a Mondavi or something like that would be.
Yeah, and
I
it's
would
not
say
just
so.
wine. Also, it's kind of across
Mondavi
the
is
board.
actually one of my favorite wineries. I buy a lot of their Cabernets, but it's just the small guys. I think, in my opinion, and you could prove me wrong, but I think the small people are doing okay because they get a lot of local support from the community.
A lot of loyalty, I bet.
That's it. A lot of loyalty.
Yeah.
So we don't make a lot of wine. So I think Bargetto's is probably the largest winery in the Santa Cruz appellation. They're probably.
I don't know about that, but yeah, I was just going to say it's kind of across the board. It's not just wine where people are not drinking as much as the prior generations. Yeah, beer is seeing it, and there's also the the seltzers now.
Yes.
Yeah, the little
Or
craft cocktails,
ciders and
ciders. You got a bunch of stuff, but yeah, so,
I still have my 2 or 3 glasses of wine every night.
Yeah.
It's still a good industry, even though we're experiencing tough times. It hasn't been this tough since 1961.
Well, that sounds like a story for after our commercial break, so I want to hear about that. So stay tuned. This is Susan O'Connor-Fraser.
Tam O'Connor-Fraser.
We're here on Santa Cruz Voice with Think Local First programming, and we will be back after we hear from our sponsors. Stay tuned.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-Cost Airlines.
With one call to Low Cost Airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-704-1662. 800-704-1662. 800-704-1662. That's 800-704-1662.
Attention content producers. You can have access to a complete digital media production facility at Satellite Co-working and Digital Media Studio on Soquel Avenue. Easily rent video and audio equipment, a studio with green screen, editing suite, and audio booth, all at can't say no rates. Schedule a tour to see for yourself at satellitecoworking.com. Mention Santa Cruz Voice for 20% off your first reservation.
Cannabis is one of nature's most beneficial plants. Hello, I'm Jenna from Treehouse Dispensary in Soquel. In addition to the finest cannabis products, Treehouse dispenses information to those who want to know how to use cannabis for maximum benefit. Though we aren't medical professionals, we do know how cannabis science can help you. You must be 21, but no appointment is necessary, and the information is free. And for those who already know what they want, Treehouse has an online ordering option at ourtreehouse.io and drive-through pickup.
And we are back.
We are back. This is Think Local First on Santa Cruz Voice. This is Susan O'Connor Fraser.
And Tam O'Connor Fraser.
Oh, don't make me blush. All right. We are coming at this is the last block of our second hour of programming.
And before we left, we were getting ready to hear an interesting story.
Yes. We are with Simone Bargetto and Peter Bargetto of Soquel Vineyards. And Peter was telling us about this being one of the hardest times in the industry since 1961. What happened in 1961?
There were not that many wineries in California. I mean, I'd go up to Napa back
Whoops,
in the 70s.
hold on. I missed getting your audio up. Let's start that again.
I would go up to Napa Valley and Sonoma when I was in my early 20s, and then eventually I got a job at Kenwood Vineyards. But I would go around the wine country, and there was no tasting fees. There were not that many wineries, very few actually.
Really?
And now there's 6,200 wineries in California.
That was because of the Sanapanoma advertising campaign that they did back then. I'm old enough to remember Sanapanoma.
But a lot of wineries here would outsource. They would go up to Napa and Sonoma for grapes. And, of course, we all know what happened to Monterey and Santa Barbara. They just started putting vineyards in as far as you can see. But here in Santa Cruz, to this day, there are only about 1,600 acres in the entire appellation.
Oh, wow.
So, and there's a lot of people from vintners, I should say, from Napa that are coming down here and buying fruit. And we try and keep most of it local here. But what's happening, because Santa Cruz is becoming so famous for Pinot Noirs, the prices are still very high, even though there's a glut of grapes out in the market. Prices actually are a little bit higher in some vineyards this year than last year.
Why is that? Because of what's the cost of that?
It's competition. You know, it's only 1,600 acres in the appellation, and I believe there's about 90 wineries now in the Santa Cruz Mountain appellation, and most of them are small, like Soquel Vineyards. But that's why the growers can still get the high prices, and rightfully so. They should, because it's very expensive to farm.
Right.
We farm the 3 acres that we have, and we have a company that comes in, Elkhorn Packing Company out of Salinas, and they do all the pruning. John Morgan does all the chipping of the canes, because we don't want the carbons in the atmosphere. They will do all the leaf thinning. They'll shoot thin. They'll hoe weeds. John will take care of all the organic sprays. Does a great job there. The fruit's pristine clean. But it costs about $15,000 per acre to grow. So you sell a ton of grapes for X amount of dollars, you go, I'm losing money this year. Maybe one year you get 1.5 tons of fruit per acre or 2 tons, you're actually losing money.
Wow.
So it's a labor of love mainly. You don't get in this industry to be rich, and we don't really care for that. It's more of a passion of what we like to do.
So how much did the Sideways movie change the whole appreciation of Pinots?
To be honest with you, I have still never seen that movie.
Oh, no!
It just seems highly annoying.
It probably is. It's kind of how I feel about the TV series, The Studio. You know, it's like it won all these Emmys and everybody's talking about it, but it drives me nuts. You know, because it's about the film and television industry.
Simone's too young to know this, but we used to buy high-end Merlot from certain growers in Napa, and back then we were paying maybe $8,000 for a ton of Merlot. After that movie, we had growers calling us, Peter, Paul, John, can you take Merlot for $2,000 a ton?
Because they totally dissed the Merlots in that movie.
So a lot of the growers in Napa T-butted over to Cabernet. Or other varieties. But yeah, that movie really hurt the Merlot industry.
Interesting.
Yeah, there was a podcast, I don't think it still exists, but it's the Unknown Winecaster, if anyone's out there knows him. He's from around Santa Cruz somewhere. Obviously don't know his name with Unknown Winecaster, but he moved up to Seattle years ago, and his take on it was that Merlot was already dipping and Pinot was shooting through the roof, and then this movie came out, coincidental timing. That's his take on it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway.
And Washington's become a big wine growing region now, too.
Making some amazing wines up there. We just got back from Giggs Harbor, and we were doing some wine tasting up there. But there's the Cabernets up there are wonderful, and I forget the brand names now, but we drank a few bottles up there. It's definitely a wine destination point.
So tell us about you. You have a wine club.
We have a wine club. Yeah, it's 2 bottles. It's a case a year. It's 2 bottles every other month. It's roughly a little bit less than $500 a year. If anyone is interested, doing the math.
Why should I join the club?
Supporting local. If you like good quality wines, it's a lot of mainly Pinot Noir. But we're not authoritarians. If you want to swap it out for something else, knock yourself out. But yeah, it's family's been around a while in Santa Cruz Mountains, and we're proud of what we do. We like making quality wines. That's kind of the gist from the brand perspective. People like the winery for the views. You get to view the Monterey Bay, nice little vineyard in front. Some plants and whatnot, and wildlife, whatever your interests are. But it's nice wines.
Do you live on the property up there?
I do not. Paul, my twin brother, lives on the property, so John and I commute. It's not a very far commute. John drives probably 3 miles. I go probably 4 or 5. But I love that property. I love walking it. It's just a lot of wildlife, as Simone was saying.
Tell me what happens up there as far as the public. You guys have tastings. You guys have events. Tell me about that.
Yeah, we are open. We're open on Fridays as well. So we're open Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
We got our use permit amended about a month ago at the County of Santa Cruz in the Planning Department, and we had a lot of support for that meeting, we're very grateful. So we're open on Fridays from 11 till 5, and as well as Saturday and Sunday.
It seems pretty reasonable to come up and do tastings.
Yeah, it's very affordable. We actually just raised, I think last year, it was $10 for the longest time for a tasting fee, and now it's $15. If you get, you buy a couple bottles, your fee gets waived or put toward the wine, however you want to look at that. But then you were asking really quick about events. We do 3 events a year. So we have one in the springtime. At the winery, we do barrel samples for Pinot Noir. And then in June or July, we do an event off-site at Pleasant Valley Farms. So we're friends with the owner there. And then the third event would be the Harvest Celebration, which takes place roughly in October, November, depending on potential rain.
Yeah.
But
that's a fun time of the year because a lot of our members have become friends over the years, and we have a pretty large wine club, and we offer futures, which is actually putting a thief in a barrel of wine and giving them 1.5 ounces of, typically it's Pinot Noir because that's what we specialize in.
Right.
So a lot of customers buy it on the futures price, so they'll save about $180 a case.
Oh, that's worth it.
and then they'll go out to maybe Pleasant Valley Farms and pick it up, or come up to the winery. It's a great club we have, and we're very grateful for the amount of members we have. We haven't lost very many over the years. But what Simone and I are seeing, I'm sure John and Paul as well, but we don't have a lot of young people now signing up for our wine club. And we're thinking, like, we're kind of curious why, because young people do like wine.
Right.
Maybe it's the economy. Maybe they don't have secure jobs. It's just hard to pinpoint it. But we get a lot of people who buy the Futures program because they are saving a substantial amount of money. And it's fun.
And you participate in you're part of Capitola Art, Wine, and Beer? Is that or Art and Wine?
This past weekend we've been doing that for a while, Capitola Art and Wine.
That's put together mainly by Sue, my sister-in-law.
Okay.
She married my twin brother, Paul, so she tackles that every year, takes care of all the staffing, which wines she wants to pour, who's going to deliver the wine, which is usually Paul. But she takes care of that event, so it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I bet.
We do a lot of events, I would say, for the community. We did one up in it was Old Christmas Tree Farm up on Empire Grade in Bonnie Doon a couple weeks ago. That was for some local elementary school up there. But, we donate some wine for dinners and fundraisers and all that kind of stuff. So it's, it's cool to be part of the community.
Oh, yeah.
We participated again. We're up in Scotts Valley, so we just finished the Art, Wine, and Beer Festival up there. Were you guys part of that?
We were not, no.
No? Yeah, it's amazing to have all these local wineries and breweries and artists and everybody come together, for that weekend. And they're fun, but like you say, it's a lot of work, to put together. And part of the challenge, that we found is that a lot of these wineries, these are the days they're open, for tastings, and so they need help in terms of crewing or volunteers that can help. So it's, but I think, the wineries that participated in Scotts Valley's event were really happy and with the results. We did a new layout, and everybody was talking about how the layout was good. So, but I'm not in charge of wine. We do the dog day.
We do the dog day.
We're in charge of Dog Day Sunday. So, talk a little bit more. You had mentioned, you kind of joked about the awards you were getting, about paying off the.
Oh, I was totally joking. No, again, I think Paul, John, and Simone do an amazing job making wines. They know the vineyards well. They know the people who grow the grapes. And again, it stems back to Prudy Fox, who maintains these vineyards. We only buy fruit from organically grown growers. And that's how we farm as well. No pesticides, herbicides.
Now, why did you make that decision?
It's healthier. We don't want to have anybody have any problems with certain sprays, or it's just the best way to farm.
They're not certified, by the way, but it is like a
certification's hard.
Yeah. It's
very
hard.
expensive.
It's expensive.
Yeah, so. I've heard that.
Yeah, we were looking at I forget the name of the chain, but I guess it's where a lot of the celebrities down in Los Angeles shop. I can't think of the name of the chain right now. It starts with an E. But they were interested in picking up one of our wines last year, but they only do certified organic, some sort of CCOF, or so anyway, that didn't pan out. But it's very expensive when you look into it. It's like a $50,000 to $100,000 certification.
Wow.
So tell me about that awards situation, because I see some of these awards, or see some of these things where you get 96 points. I remember we were always looking for wines that were in the 90s, and I don't know why, but we thought that was good. Do you?
It is good?
Yeah.
Well, 96 was a good year.
Oh, you're back to that discussion.
Yeah, we enter for San Francisco Chronicle.
Okay.
That's in January, February. It's the largest wine competition in North America. It's wineries from all over, even Canada, Mexico.
Oh, wow.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, it's East Coast. Anyway, so I don't know how they taste all these wines, but they somehow do with all the judges, and they give you a score from the best of class, and you get your double gold, your gold, and we don't really count anything after that. For us, it's not.
Well, be humble, Zoni, be humble.
So you have the competition. So you won, for example, your 2023 Pinot won a gold with San Francisco Chronicle. But that's separate, isn't it, from the point system?
Yeah, the point system we enter is Wine Enthusiast, and that's Matt Ketman, who does Central Coast, I believe. Santa Cruz Mountains would be part of that. So I think it's from Santa Barbara and Paso up to, I think, where we are, maybe a little bit further north. But he does the Central Coast, so he does the point scores.
Okay.
Yeah, so no gold or silver for any of that. It's just a review about the wine, what it tastes like. I'm sure it's also based on price point.
Ah.
And we've been pretty lucky with the Wine Enthusiasts. Sometimes I feel always very joyful because they always seem to give our Trinity like best buy. So that's huge for a small winery. For price point, it's huge. And then we get the big numbers for the Pinots. And that helps the market move because our brokers, we work with a company called Hunter Wine Marketing. And they have about 50 wineries in their book, I think, Simone, 45, 50 wineries. So when you get a 90 or above score with the Wine Enthusiast, that moves a lot of wine on the shelves because we have a friend, broker, Bob Marsh, who puts the POS, point of sale, up on the shelf. So when the customer goes in there and sees a 95 or 96 rating, the wines are just pulled off the shelf pretty immediately.
Right.
So,
yeah, I mean, I know that when we would shop at Costco for wine, we would look and, if it was under 90, we'd move on. And we were big cab drinkers. So
separate yourself from the pack. Right?
Scotts Valley Market and AJ Market.
Yes.
And Deluxe and Shoppers, and there's a bunch of other shops that buy our wine.
Yes.
So when Bobby puts that point of sale up, the wine's really rock and roll for us.
So, what have I not asked you that you would want our listeners to know?
Well, that I taught my son Italian when he was a kid. And he went off to graduate at San Francisco State.
It's always so annoying when
Yeah, it's a problem with family businesses. Your dad's job is to embarrass you a little bit.
Yeah, it's part of the deal, I guess. I think we already kind of touched on it, but the only thing I would say is it's like a family-run business from the ground up. We have, I think I'm the only full-time employee right now, I believe. But, we have our family friends that help us out in the tasting room on weekends, and the three owners, as mentioned before. So it's kind of a really small, maybe not mom and pop, but it's a small operation, and we kind of have it down to some sort of science, I would like to believe.
So Wine Enthusiast said, combined energy with excellence.
They did say that.
Do you know why he said that?
That was about the Coast Grade 2019, I believe, vintage Pinot Noir. Something about balance. Yeah.
What's really fun for us is Simone and I go to Italy every year to see family and friends.
Where in Italy?
Northern Italy. That's where his mom was born. And
my mom's from right outside Torino.
And my family's about 15 miles away from my wife's family. But we always bring a box of wine back to Italy. I can't imagine we haven't even had one bottle break in all these years. But the Italian friends, they love Santa Cruz Mountain Pinot Noirs.
Really?
Yeah, they just go crazy over them. So,
nice.
And Simone and I want to drink Nebbiolo and Barbera the whole time. But they just love it because they don't have the California wines over there.
Right.
So something new for them.
Well, we are coming up on the end of the hour here.
This hour quickly.
Yeah, it went fast as usual. SoquelVineyards.com. Check them out.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for joining us.
We love having people like you and telling these great local stories, and that's what Think Local First is all about. It's celebrating shopping local, being making our local businesses successful. So
thank you very much for having us.
Yeah,
much appreciated.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Tim.
All right. Well,
until next week.
Until next week. Yes, we will be back next Friday.